With the announcement of Nexon's official Old School MapleStory Classic World, so many of us are ecstatic about the game and can't wait for its release. As the initial excitement subsides though, players are beginning to poke at ideas of what Nexon's iteration of classic MapleStory will be like. There's been guesses to what version the game will be on, what classes will be available, and whether 4th job will be released right away, whether weapons not requiring secondary stats will be available, and etc. While Nexon did promise in their 20th anniversary video that the server will be as faithful as possible, technically anything canon to MapleStory over its 20-year run is faithful at some point in time. One pretty safe assumption we can make, however, is its contents will most likely be from before Big Bang. Now, two important questions arise. When specifically before Big Bang? And will they reintroduce all the mechanics one-to-one, or will there be optimizations made around them? Throughout the years, now over a decade at this point, of players imagining what an idealized version of Old School MapleStory will be like, Maple scholars from across the world have collectively landed on V62 being the perfect equilibrium between storied content and nostalgic visual effects to modern quality of life and balancing. If we are to assume Nexon's version of classic MapleStory will be based on this era of Maple, or even an earlier version of it, there is something we really need to discuss. This item, this thing right here. This is called an AP reset and was originally available in the cash shop way back for 3,100 Nexon points. What this item does is that it allows you to take a previously attributed ability point out of your stat window and reattribute it to a different stat. There are 6 total stats recognized by the game: your HP, MP, Strength, Dex, Int, and Luck. With this item, you have a single use of pulling a point out of your Dex and reattributing it to your Luck, for example. Something like this allows a thief who may have overclicked the stat into Dex to put that back into Luck to get a bit more damage. It also fixes the imperfect rolls at the beginning when you're rolling the dice on your character. Where your magician might have started off with 4 strength, 5 dex, 12 int, and 4 luck, you're able to directly reset that dex into int. That sounds simple enough, one might say. So why do we not want this item in the game? Revisiting the concern of whether Nexon will be directly reintroducing old mechanics into classic MapleStory or revamping them, objectively the most important and divisive mechanic is how character HPs interact with the monsters in the game as a player progresses. You see, in the original vanilla version of MapleStory, canon to its development, thieves and archers started out with the least amount of health points and also gained the least upon leveling up. Magicians technically get even less, but because of their skill magic guard, this isn't much of an issue. Warriors, on the other hand, gain the most upon leveling up, and Spearmans from the warrior branch even has a skill that increases party member HP by 40%. A character's health point didn't matter that much in the early game, as slimes, bubblings, pigs, and legators will hardly threaten your HP with a couple of bumps. However, entering the pre-3rd job areas, monsters begin to do more damage, and low health classes such as thieves and archers begin to have difficulty leveling. This is only made worse once they enter the level 80 to 90 threshold, where literally every monster around the level range will 2 or 3 shot you, requiring your finger to always be on that potion key. This, despite how nostalgic it is not enjoyable. A mechanic was then discovered by the whales of the olden days. These players found that there's a flaw in the AP reset NX item that allowed players to theoretically gain infinite health. You see, you can take out a point in strength to attribute it into dex only if you've previously put a point into strength. You can't take out points that you don't have. But for some reason, the way the game is coded made it so HP and MP shared the same stat pool. This means that players can attribute a point into HP to gain more health, then use the AP reset to pull a point away from MP and reattribute that into their primary stat. This was an enormous discovery. Without getting into the nitty-gritties, players now have a way to steadily gain 60 to 80 bonus HP with every level up. given they expense 5 AP resets every time they do, the difference this made was massive. For example, if done across 60 levels on a Night Lord, this method would yield 4,800 extra HP additional to what the base HP was, putting a character at a distinct advantage over others when it came time to train at 4th drop areas or go on boss runs. So why is there a reason to not want an item that can make the game more enjoyable for characters with low HP? Well, if you've been doing the math, 5 AP resets per level equates to $15 back in the day. Us Canadians don't even want to fathom what that looks like with the exchange rates now. To do this for 60 levels would cost a whopping $900 which I know we're all excited to play the game and spend money on it, but come on. Come on. Nexon, please hear me out. We all know you need to make money. It's the only reason you're giving us classic MapleStory. Your financial statements over the past 10 years across different revenue streams with Belgian smoothing applied tells us that Reboot is thriving and racking up more rackades than ever. Yes, introducing an old school server will tap into a population of ex-players, prompting them to return to the game, but undoubtedly a percentage of Reboot spenders and whales will be gravitated to the classic mode as well. And ain't no way you're allowing this to happen without monetizing the classic server out the wazoo. But please, give us ways other than AP reset to allow characters to progress past into the mid game. And we don't even need to remove the item completely, we can keep it in the cash shop for the whales. But give us another avenue of increasing our characters' HPs with maybe AP resets only as a supplement. There have been so many theories and experiments conducted, not sure where, so don't ask me for source, of alternatives to gaining HP via AP resets, otherwise coined as HP washing. Some of these involve daily tasks of clicking a few buttons on a website with an URL. Not sure exactly which buttons or which website though, so don't ask me about that. Others involve kills or collection quests players can do to receive a permanent 50 or 100 max HP boost after completion. Or take a page out of Artail's books. Isn't Artail your baby? I know it's a slightly challenged sibling of the two, but even they figured out how to get players into the mid game without the HP washing system. Please, Nexon, you need money, we'll give you money, but please just not with AP resets. Another argument that has often been made by casual players is why not just remove differential HP scaling together? Make Night Lords and Bowmasters and Bishops gain the same HP per level as Warriors, and make all the classes gain the same mana as Mages do. Well, you see, the solution has also been solved in the past. In an imbalanced environment, because of the heavy reliance on HP, Spearmen start out heavily valued by parties for their hyper body skill, increasing the HP of all party members by 40%. But as that environment began to mature and more quote-unquote spawn into the game with godly amounts of HP, the Spearman Dragon Knight branch as a whole started dying out. There's just no more reasons to play Dragon Knights. Having hyperbody is no longer a benefit, and while this is a different can of worms on its own, put simply, their 4th drop gameplay requires 2 to 3 times the attention and input as heroes or paladins. Making everyone start out at the same HP will completely invalidate Dragon Knights, which is one of the most iconic classes of old school MapleStory, and we would hate to see that go. Nexon, please do not fail us. Click the video to the left to find out how you can prepare for the release of classic MapleStory, and click the video on the right to watch whatever I uploaded last.